The Galactic Preservation Station orbited the dying star of Kepler 442, a massive arc containing the last breeding populations of 17 endangered species from across known space. Antonio pushed his cleaning cart down Corridor 7B, humming an old Earth song his grandmother had taught him. The night shift suited him fine. Fewer bureaucrats, fewer questions about why a human was doing menial labor. On a station staffed by the galaxy's greatest xenobiologist, he didn't mind. Someone had to keep the incubation chambers clean, and Antonio took pride in his work. The chirping started near the Draconis stellaris habitat. Antonio froze, mop in hand. The sound was small, insistent, like a bird, but with an underlying harmonic that made his teeth ache. He'd worked on the station for 3 years and knew every mechanical hum, every air recycler's wheeze. This was biological, and it was coming from inside the maintenance duct. No, 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 Antonio muttered, dropping to his knees. The Draconis stellaris, star dragons, were the most critically endangered species on the station. Only 3 existed in the entire universe, and 2 of them were here. The third had died 6 months ago in a poaching incident that had sent shockwaves through the galactic community. The mother, Ashkara, had laid a single egg before her mate's death. That egg was supposed to be in a climate-controlled incubator, monitored by a team of specialists around the clock. Antonio pried open the vent cover. 2 luminous purple eyes stared back at him. The hatchling was no bigger than a house cat, its scales shimmering between silver and gold like liquid starlight. Tiny wings, still translucent, fluttered against its sides. It chirped again and crawled forward, pressing its snout against Antonio's hand. Dios mio, he whispered. The hatchling clambered into his palm, warm and surprisingly heavy. It made a sound that was almost a purr, curling its tail around Antonio's wrist. Alarms should have been blaring. The entire xenobiology department should have been in crisis mode. Instead, there was only silence and the soft humming of life support systems. Antonio carefully placed the hatchling on his cart and sprinted toward the command center. His work boots squeaked against the polished floor. The hatchling chirped contentedly from its perch atop a stack of cleaning supplies, watching him with unsettling intelligence. Dr. Velshera, a Centauri with 4 arms and bioluminescent skin patterns that flickered with anxiety, nearly dropped her data pad when Antonio burst through the door. The dragon, the hatchling. It's… Antonio gestured helplessly at his cart. The hatchling chirped. Every xenobiologist in the room turned simultaneously. Someone gasped. Dr. Velshera's skin flashed bright red, a Centauri distress signal. How did you? She started. I found it in a vent. Where's the security? Where's the team that's supposed to be watching it? Professor Kane, the station's head of xenobiology, pushed through the crowd. The elderly Qualix moved with deliberate grace, his crystalline exoskeleton refracting the overhead lights into rainbow patterns. He stopped when he saw the hatchling, now attempting to climb onto Antonio's shoulder. Extraordinary, Kane whispered. Shouldn't we get it back to the incubator? Antonio asked, gently discouraging the hatchling from using his ear as a climbing hold. We tried, Velshera said quietly. 47 times in the past 8 hours. It kept escaping. We have footage of it phasing through the containment field, something adult dragons can do, but we'd never observed in hatchlings. We thought it was dying, that some instinct was driving it to find. She trailed off, staring at Antonio. Find what? Its parent, Kane said. Ashkara, the mother. She's been agitated for days. We couldn't understand why. The professor's multiple eyes focused on Antonio with disturbing intensity. Tell me, Mr. Reyes, do you clean the Draconis habitat? Every night. It's on my route. And you speak to Ashkara? Antonio felt his face heat. Sometimes. Is that a problem? I know I'm not supposed to interact with the specimens, but she seemed lonely after her mate died, and I thought, what do you talk about? Kane interrupted. Stupid stuff. My day. Stories about Earth. My grandmother's garden. Antonio shifted uncomfortably as every scientist in the room stared at him. Sometimes I sing to her. The same songs my abuela taught me. The hatchling chirped and successfully achieved its goal, perching on Antonio's shoulder. It pressed its warm snout against his neck, and Antonio felt something. A vibration, a resonance that seemed to echo in his chest. Impossible, Velshera breathed. The bond. It's forming a bond. Draconis stellaris don't bond with their own kind, Kane explained, his voice carrying the weight of someone delivering a lecture. They bond with their caretakers. In the wild, they're raised communally by whatever species shares their territory. It's an evolutionary adaptation. They exchange protection for caregiving. But they're extraordinarily selective. The bond must be chosen by the parent first. Antonio's stomach dropped. Ashkara chose me. She chose your compassion, Kane said. Your consistency. Your songs. The professor moved closer, studying the hatchling, which had now wrapped its tail possessively around Antonio's neck. Dragons judge character, Mr. Reyes. Not species, not status, character. And it appears that a human janitor has passed a test that has destroyed civilizations attempting to fail it. The hatchling chirped again, a sound of pure contentment. What does this mean? Antonio asked. Destiny appeared in the doorway, breathing hard. The young xenobiology intern had been running, her dark hair escaping its ponytail. Ashkara's calling, she announced. She won't stop. I think. She saw Antonio and the hatchling and stopped. Oh, that makes sense. Ms. Rivera, please escort Mr. Reyes and the hatchling to the Draconis habitat. Kane ordered as they walked through the corridors. Destiny couldn't stop grinning. Do you know what this means? You're going to be famous. A human bonded with a star dragon. The xenobiology journals will go insane. I just wanted to mop floors, Antonio said weakly. The hatchling made a sound that might have been laughter. Ashkara was waiting when they entered the habitat. The dragon was magnificent, 20 meters of scaled power, wings that could blot out stars, eyes like molten gold. She lowered her massive head as Antonio approached, and the hatchling leaped from his shoulder, gliding on unsteady wings to nuzzle against its mother's snout. Then Ashkara looked at Antonio, and he felt the weight of her gaze, the intelligence behind it. She rumbled, a sound that resonated in his bones, and touched her nose to his forehead. The bond settled into place like a key turning in a lock. Welcome to xenobiology, Mr. Reyes, Destiny said softly. Something tells me you're going to need a new job title. The hatchling chirped its agreement. Antonio touched his forehead where Ashkara had blessed him and smiled. His grandmother had always said that kindness would take him places. He'd just never imagined those places would include the stars. Behind them, the scientists were already calling an emergency council session. The first human-dragon bond in recorded history would change everything. Treaties, protection laws, humanity's place in the galactic community. But in that moment, Antonio just knelt beside a mother dragon and her child, and hummed the songs of Earth while the stars wheeled overhead.